This week on Vice, we go to North Korea.
The world is changing. Now no one knows where it's going. But we'll be there uncovering the news, culture, and politics that expose the absurdity of the modern condition.
So we're about to play a quick pickup game. Super casual, pretty relaxed.
This is the world through our eyes. This is the world of Vice.
We here at Vice have been fascinated by North Korea for a long time. In fact, we've done 3 documentaries about the Hermit Kingdom, all of which have been harshly critical of the regime.
You have to go to the house of the people, the library of the people. You have to see the soccer team of the people. But the one thing that we didn't do was meet any of the actual people of North Korea.
It's not very busy here.
For that reason, I'm personally never allowed to go back to the DPRK. But we wanted to get inside the country again to see firsthand how it's faring under its new, very young, and very mysterious leader, Kim Jong-un. One of the biggest challenges in dealing with North Korea on any level is that we have virtually no diplomatic relations with them. In fact, over the past 65 plus years, only a handful of Americans have ever met the country's leaders. The most prominent of which was Secretary of State Madeleine Albright during a visit to the country when she brought Kim Jong-il a basketball signed by Michael Jordan. Now, she did this because, despite his public disdain for America, Kim Jong-il privately loved the Chicago Bulls. His passion for the 90s-era Bulls was passed on to his son, Kim Jong-un, and banking on the dynasty's inherent love for basketball, we worked through official and back channels to propose a goodwill game of basketball with North Korea's national team. If they accepted, we would bring 3 members of the Harlem Globetrotters, who are the most natural ambassadors of goodwill in the game, and a real live Chicago Bull. Much to our surprise, it worked. The DPRK actually invited our delegates to come to North Korea and participate in a very, very rare, quote-unquote, foreign sports exchange program. The timing, however, turned out to be very tricky, because in December of 2012, North Korea launched the Kwangmyeong-sung 3 satellite into the Earth's orbit, stirring fears that the country's missile program could soon be advanced enough to carry a nuclear weapon as far as the United States. And just so we didn't forget exactly what these missiles would be carrying, they conducted a 3rd nuclear test to make sure we got the message. This, of course, set the international community on edge. So, in the midst of heightened tensions and heated rhetoric, we headed to Pyongyang to see if we could actually engage with the North Koreans through the cultural vehicle of basketball.
The second you land in North Korea, you realize you're no longer in control of anything.
Motorcade is waiting, so we have to...
The motorcade is waiting.
Government minders direct your every step. You're told where to go, what to do, and most importantly, what to film. And as other Westerners have found out the hard way, if you flaunt these restrictions, you could wind up in North Korean jail, one of the worst places on Earth. Since our instincts are usually to shoot the exact opposite of what people want us to, I was more than a bit freaked out. Having the Harlem Globetrotters along with us on this trip was extremely comforting, because they were some of the most positive guys we'd ever met.
Hey, buddy!
And I needed that comfort pretty much right away, because as soon as we entered the hotel lobby, we were welcomed by a banner celebrating the recent nuclear test. At first, we thought the banner might have been put there for us. But when I opened up the curtains for my first look at Pyongyang, I saw a long line of buses leaving the hotel. And then, I turned on the TV.
시청자 여러분, 여기는 수도 평양의 창전거리입니다. 오늘 평양에 도착한 제3차 지하핵시험 성공에 공헌한 정녕 이 경이적인 성과는 위대한 대원 스님들과 우리 당의 현명한 용도가 나온 빛나는 결실이며 이번에 제3차 지하 핵심 성공은 백산 대국의 유력을 힘있게 가지한 두 이윤자들을 볼 때 막 달려나가서 올싸안고 춤을 추고 싶은 생각입니다.
A bunch of the nuclear scientists from the February 12th test are staying at this hotel right now. They were brought here by way of kind of reward or some sort of celebration by the leader. So they're staying here at the same hotel with us, unsettling.
So we weren't even there for a few hours, and this international nuclear controversy, with huge geopolitical ramifications, was playing out in our hotel lobby.
No, he just always has to hold that out for practice.
From the start, we were under very close supervision. They were watching us and what we were shooting at all times.
Every day has a schedule, and we have a lot of minders whose full-time jobs it is to make sure that we stay on those schedules. So, army of people there waiting for you to usher you onto the bus.
We were always surrounded by guides, translators, and officials, many of whom we'd been warned were actually secret police. We'd agreed that along with the exhibition game, we'd host a basketball camp with what we thought would be a bunch of kids in a high school gym somewhere. Instead, we were ushered into a massive 10,000-seat stadium.
Oh, this is nice.
We'd also be working with the best under-18 players in the country.
My name is Anthony Blakes, also known as Buckets. I'm number 15 with the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters. We're going to show you guys some great things today and hopefully give you an opportunity to learn something new as well as make some new friends with us. On my whistle, first guy goes. Go, full speed, full speed. Hands up, good. Go.
So they have to compete for the rebound. All right, ready? Go. There you go. This is what rebound is all about. You have to fight for it. Go. Oh.
Friendship on three.
You know, language, 친구.
Tingle. 1, 2, 3. Tingle! Good job.
As we were leaving, we spotted North Korea's most famous basketball player, Ri Myung-hun, who had come out to watch the drills. Ri was at one time the tallest man in basketball. He was super excited about our visit, and he gathered us together for a chat.
Just me and him. Everybody else, just me and him.
In a country that's known to suffer from malnutrition and the stunted growth that goes along with it, Ri is truly an exception. In fact, his height actually attracted the interest of American scouts, but due to trade sanctions, he was unable to pursue his dreams of playing in the NBA. And although loyal to North Korea, when he was once asked how he felt about not being able to play in the NBA, he replied, "I'm not interested in money or politics. As a sportsman, I just want to try."
이제부터 한번 처음에 문 열었으니까 이제부터 오면 그래서 우리 그래서 정말 열렬히 한정해서 다 해주니까.
As one of the trade-offs for allowing us to visit through this sports exchange, we agreed to go on their state-sanctioned tour. And like the beginning of any tour of North Korea, our first stop was an obligatory visit to the Sun Palace, where the country's last two leaders lie in state. North Korea is the last of the socialist/communist cult of personality utopian states. And much like Stalin in the Soviet Union or Mao in China, their leaders are not only revered as political figures, but flat out worshipped as gods. Kim Il-sung was installed by the Soviets as the first supreme leader in 1948. And in fact, he's still president of the DPRK today, even though he's been dead since 1994.
어버이 수령님을 존중이 않지한 연구차가 서서히 영웅의 거리에 들어섭니다.
Kim Il-sung was succeeded by his son, Kim Jong-il, who inherited his father's godlike excellence. And he was perfect at everything. Not only was he the greatest at military strategy and city planning, but also at filmmaking, furniture design, and even animal husbandry. When Kim Jong-il died in 2011, leadership was passed to his son, Kim Jong-un, about whom the world knows very, very little. These state-sanctioned tours of North Korea tend to be exactly the same year in, year out. But because of our basketball mission and our documentary, they'd created a new, hand-tailored propaganda tour. They were going to show us how great the quality of life in North Korea really was. So instead of taking us to places like the most militarized border on Earth, the DMZ, they took us to the North Korean version of SeaWorld. Immediately, we knew we were stepping into something completely different. A huge crowd was already seated and waiting patiently for us to arrive.
Front row seats.
Even here, we were reminded of North Korea's nuclear prowess.
여러분 안녕하십니까? 백두산 대국의 무지막강한 국력을 만방에 걸치고 5천년 민족사의 특대 사변인 주체조 실용위성 광명성 3호 2호기의 발사와 이번에 또다시 제3차 지하핵수의 성공으로
And interestingly, Kim Jong-un was not just credited as the mastermind behind all the missiles and bombs, he was also the choreographer of the Dolphin Show. Not only is Kim Jong-un great with dolphins, he's now personally responsible for inspecting, advising, and directing all aspects of North Korean life.
환영합니다. 경례하는 김정은 원수님이 직접적인 발기와 구상에 따라 일떠선 현대적인 대중운동 센터이며
Marshall inspected this facility.
Right. Any machine we see with a red placard like that?
Yes.
Yes, wow, cool. Are there ever arguments over who gets to use the Marshall's equipment?
They would prefer the machine that were actually inspected by Marshall.
Of course.
I don't even know what this is called, but I'm loving it. What is that ball that is on your face?
It is a thing that prevents your skin from getting older. That one makes your breast enlargement.
Did you say they did breast enlargement in here as well?
That one helps to enlarge breast and also it can treat breast cancers.
Oh, wow. Table tennis is the most popular sport in DPRK?
No, it's not the most popular sport.
What do you think is the most popular sport?
I think basketball.
Oh, basketball, good. Well, we came on the right mission then.
At the end of the day, we were invited to indulge ourselves in a North Korean shopping spree. The mall was clearly a showpiece, designed to project an abundance of delicacies in a country that doesn't even have enough food to feed its people. The store was rammed with Western products and a very, very attentive sales staff.
Coca-Cola, Doritos, Ruffles, anything you want to get good and fat. I'm personally gonna go with Coke.
Like Coke?
I love Coke. Do you like Coke?
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorite.
Pay with a credit card?
No.
No?
It would have felt just like a store at home if it weren't for the fact that A, we were the only customers there, and B, I couldn't actually buy anything. As we drove back to the hotel, I noticed that in spite of the country's well-documented chronic power shortages, this city was extremely well lit, which made me think, were even the lights part of the tour as well? That might sound crazy, but when you look at satellite photos of the region, North Korea is completely dark. The next morning, we were driven to the International Friendship Exhibition, and the only cars that we saw on the long 3-hour drive there were our own. The International Friendship Exhibition is basically this castle vault built into the side of a mountain that holds every gift ever given to the leadership of North Korea. They had gifts from the likes of Muammar Gaddafi, Leonid Brezhnev, the Sandinistas, and of course, Madeleine Albright, whose gift of a Michael Jordan signed basketball was the inspiration for this trip. A trip, by the way, that was getting progressively weirder, as we saw at our next stops, the Kim Il-sung University and Grand People's Study House. After the prerequisite display of nuclear and missile technology, they gave us a tour demonstrating North Korea's openness to the outside world.
If you could learn to drive, you'd practice parking a car. Over and over. Yeah. This is the golden chance to have conversations with the natives.
How long have you been playing basketball?
Okay.
Well, I have been playing basketball since I was a small child.
I see.
I have been playing basketball for about 5 days now.
Bye. Bye. See you again.
Next, they took us to a computer lab where students were using the internet. And your first thought is, okay, this looks like any lab at a university back home. But then it dawns on you that it's completely silent. No one is doing anything. There was no typing, no mouse clicking, nothing. We saw one guy looking at the Google homepage, but he wasn't searching for anything. He was just staring blankly at the screen. The one person we saw there who actually looked like he knew how to use a computer was, of course, the one person they wanted us to meet.
자기소개 좀. 물려 붙여.
Hello. How you doing?
Here's a picture for physics.
Very nice to meet you as well. Sorry to disturb you while you're working.
Yes. Actually, I was looking through my papers, which are published in the journals.
Oh, wow.
This is about string theory. This is done in collaboration with some foreign scientists in Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Considering North Korea's reputation for complete and total suppression of information, this stop was clearly designed to convince us that they had access to the internet, just like the rest of the world, which we knew wasn't true. And that left us wondering, was anything we were seeing real? It felt like we were walking through a real live Truman Show, created just for us. Everywhere we went and everything we saw was constructed to convey the exact opposite of what we know about North Korea. I honestly felt like I was losing my mind. But nothing could have prepared us for what was about to happen next.
So we're here just about to play a quick pickup game. Super casual, really relaxed, with a few Harlem Globetrotters, and a bunch of North Koreans, and myself, as Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un watch.
The most white team captain.
You are white and you are red.
Would I take these?
He is captain, and you will be behind him. And then you can, if he pick one player, then you can give one by one.
I hand out. I'm the equipment manager.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We picked teams playground style, so each team had both Americans and North Koreans.
Let's do it. All right.
Team on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm starting.
You about to get dunked on, player. Here we go.
백팀의 주장 45번 슛! 골인 됐습니다. 멋있는 동작이었습니다. 홈팀에서 성공시켰습니다. 연결합 성공됐습니다. 팀에서 멋있는 인결합이었습니다.
After the halftime show, the Globetrotters went out and did what they do best.
다시 또 백팀에서 공을 차지했습니다. 60번 경기 안도 슛! 홈팀에서 윤우에 올라가서 들어오는 공을 발로 쳐냈습니다. 부화적인 행동으로서 사람들에게 아마 추억을 남기게 될 것입니다.
Then, in the fourth quarter, the game got really intense and actually started to get exciting. With no overtime allowed, the game actually ended in a tie.
Beautiful right there. Way to make it dramatic for our first visit here.
Before we even knew what was going on, Dennis was standing and giving a speech.
First of all, I would like to say thank you.
먼저 감사하다는 말을 하고 싶습니다.
You guys have been very, very kind to me and to my compadres from America. And the one thing I want to say, I'm going to cut this really short. I'm very, very privileged to be here. And for you guys to accept us as one of you is an honor. I'm sorry that my country and your country are not on good terms, but for me and the country, you have a friend for life. Sir, thank you. You have a friend for life.
저는 조선과 미국 사이의 관계가 좋지 못한 데 대해서 유감스럽게 생각합니다. 그러나 조선과 조선 인민은 저의 친구이며 저는 경애하는 원수님을 저의 친근한 보시라고 생각합니다. 감사합니다.
We were in a complete and total daze. The 2 hours of screaming and emotion, the tie game at the final buzzer, and of course, the surprise visit by Kim Jong-un. It was truly a surreal experience. All of a sudden, we were ushered off the court and into the locker room and told to change right away.
We have very important schedule, so we have to be very much hurry.
Okay, right
now we go up.
We were bussed across the city, but no one knew where we were going. No one, not even our minders. We were told to leave our cameras behind and brought into this large marble building and escorted through a ton of security. And then we turned a corner to see Kim Jong-un.
이날 저녁 경의하는 김정은 원수님께서는 조선민주주의인민공화국 올림픽위원회에서 우리나라를 방문한 미국 NBA 이전 선수와 일행을 위해 마련한 만찬회에 초대되셨습니다.
There we were, face to face with Kim Jong-un for a dinner celebration. And with that, we were somehow the first Americans to meet North Korea's new leader. Having him on the sidelines for the game was one thing, but standing right beside him was completely and totally insane. It was like being in an alternate universe. So here's what happened. At first, introductory speeches were given, the theme of which was pretty much drink. Then the curtains went up, and out came this all-girl band dressed in white with electric violins, and they're inexplicably playing the theme from Rocky. And then things started to get really crazy. At one point, Dennis took the mic and sang My Way while our interpreter played the sax. Then they pointed at me, and it was my turn to toast. So I thanked Kim Jong-un for his hospitality and said that we'd like to return the favor if he ever wanted to come to America and have dinner with us, which, thankfully, got a big laugh. Clearly, the booze loosened everyone up. What we kept hearing from these ministers, party officials, and nuclear negotiators, and then even from Kim Jong-un himself, was that they hoped our visit would be able to reduce some of the psychological barriers between the US and North Korea. They even went on to claim that we'd made history. Now that's a pretty bold statement, but it is in fact historic. In the years since the Korean War, North Korean and American athletes have competed against each other on a handful of occasions, but they'd never played on the same team. And that sentiment of collaboration was echoed by Kim Jong-un when he gave the final toast of the night.
경의하는 원수님께서는 이런 체육 교류가 활성화되어 두 나라 인민들이 서로 리해를 도모하는 데 기여하게 되리라는 기대를 표명하셨습니다.
So you've got the average North Korean, people who are taught from birth that America is this evil imperial power hell-bent on their destruction, waking up the next day to see their dear leader, aka God, hanging out with a bunch of Americans saying he hopes that we can all get along. Now, of course, it's possible that's just more propaganda, but we did start to think that maybe, just maybe, we may have had at least some impact. We realized that bringing a crew of basketball players to North Korea isn't going to lead to the country dismantling its nuclear program, shutting down its labor camps, or even toning down its anti-American rhetoric. But during our time there, we did accomplish something.
We just stopped buses the first time we've been able to do that.
This way.
Found a court on the side of the street, and we're actually able to stop at it for the Globetrotters. They're going to see if they can get involved, and it's actually really awesome to see.
감사합니다, right? 감사합니다. All right? So save yourself, you got to do it sometime.
Through basketball, we managed to bridge the divide between our countries, open a dialogue, and make a connection with real people. If only for a moment.
Would you like to try a spin?
Everything else aside, this is good.
감사합니다. Thank you. Amazing. It was great. It was amazing. One little kid just said, "Welcome to our country." Bye.
whole mountains of ice are just falling into the sea, we're in for trouble.
Indeed.
This is where the Soviets tested all their weapons. This is the epicenter of a nuclear bomb.
In the last 6 months, you got 9,000 IEDs. That's an IED?
Once you get someone in, they can never leave.
Even police helicopters don't dare fly over here, because 2 years ago, one was shot down by an anti-aircraft gun. Fun place to live.
Okay, let's get out of here.